By now, you've seen the headlines. SNAP, Medicaid, housing programs. Every week seems to bring us more and more bad news. Now, the federal government is cutting budgets and offloading more costs to the states, and as a result, real people are paying the price. Just this week, we saw Vermont's largest housing agency announce massive cuts. No new vouchers, 500 vouchers being taken away, and no more referrals for veterans, foster youth, or families who are at risk of losing their children because they don't have a place to live. And all of this because of a sudden $1 million budget shortfall that caught them by surprise when the federal government cut funding to a critical program that helps disabled people pay their rent. And this isn't just Vermont. This is just the beginning. We're seeing things happen all across the country. Quiet cuts, shrinking programs, long wait lists, and fewer lifelines than ever before. But, and this might surprise you, there's also new funding quietly being released. HUD just committed over $1.1 billion in housing support. And it's not going to the big universal programs like Section 8, but it's going to other programs that most people don't even know exist. So, I'm going to be honest with you. These programs are smaller, more specific, and way easier to miss. But they're real, they're funded, and they might be your best chance at getting housing help in 2025. So today I'm going to break it all down for you. What's available, who qualifies, where to apply, and even what to do if you don't qualify for those specific programs. So keep watching. Let's start with families and young people aging out of foster care. HUD just put $10 million into the Family Unification Program. This program serves two really vulnerable groups: families who are at risk of losing custody of their kids because they don't have housing, and young adults who have aged out of the foster care system and are now facing homelessness. Another $1.8 billion was set aside for the Foster Youth Independence Program, which also serves young adults who have aged out of foster care. These programs not only help with rent, but they also offer job training, personal finance coaching, nutrition counseling, meal prep assistance, and more. But the largest chunk of housing funding that I found went to housing for Native American and Alaskan Native communities. HUD just announced over $1.1 billion in new funding for affordable housing on tribal lands. That's a massive investment in Indian country, and it can be used for new housing, construction, repairs, rental help, all sorts of things. Now, this funding is being sent to tribal communities in 35 different states, from Alaska to Arizona to North Carolina. So if you live in a tribal area, check with your tribal housing authority ASAP. Now, there's even more support for veterans, specifically Native American veterans. This month, HUD and the VA also announced $2.2 million in tribal HUD-VASH funds. This program helps Native Americans get housing and access to case management and VA services and so on. Now, if you think you might be eligible for any of that assistance, you can find the names of the agencies that received that funding right on the HUD website. If there's one in your area, you just need to reach out to them, and they should be able to tell you where the money is going, how it's going to be used, and what you could do to benefit from that. Now listen, I know that this isn't what some of you were hoping for, but please bear with me because I'm not done yet. I need you to understand that this is where the money is right now. These programs are real, they're funded, and they're helping real people, just not in the way that usually makes the headlines. But I think that that's exactly why this is important for everyone, including you, because these press releases are telling a different story than what you're hearing in the news. While big name programs like Section 8 are being slashed and threatened and they are at risk, there are still some smaller, more targeted housing programs that are not just surviving, they're thriving. And that gives me a little bit of hope, because maybe that means that the help isn't gone. Maybe it's just harder to find. Maybe it's buried under paperwork or wrapped in red tape, but maybe it's still there. And if we can figure out where to look and how to apply, then maybe we're going to be okay. Right? And that speaks to me personally, because that's exactly why I created Low Income Relief in the first place. For the last 12 years, this has been my full-time job, digging through the noise, finding the programs that no one wants to talk about, and making it even easier for you to get the help that you deserve. So with that in mind, let's talk strategy, because the old approach to finding low-income housing just isn't going to work anymore. For years, I've always told you to start your search with your local public housing authority. Get on those wait lists. And honestly, you still should, as long as those programs continue to exist. But you can't stop there, not anymore. It's time to get creative and intentional about where you look for housing help. Think about it like this. If you've watched our videos on grants, you already know that the most effective ones are always tied to some specific qualifier, like a job, a medical diagnosis, or a veteran status. The more niche the program, the less competition there is, and the better your chances are of getting help. Now, I always say that you should never expect to find one universal grant program that will just give everybody money, right? Nobody can afford to do that. But I think it's time to start applying that to housing too. Don't just chase those big name programs like Section 8. They're overcrowded. Everybody's in line. Everyone is scrambling to that limited funding like a life preserver. Instead, it's time to look for the under the radar programs that are tied to your life, your background, your location, your needs, because that's where the opportunity is hiding right now. Here are a few ideas to help you get started. If you're a senior, your first call should be to the Elder Care Locator. That number is 1-800-677-1116. They can connect you to housing programs designed specifically for older adults in your area. If you're a veteran, skip the Public Housing Authority and go straight to the VA. They have housing programs like HUD-VASH that are often easier to access and better tailored to your needs. If you're a family at risk of homelessness, reach out to your local administration for children and family services or your Department of Social and Human Services. Ask them if they know of any rapid rehousing or transitional housing programs that aren't necessarily widely advertised. And while you're at it, call your local community action council as well, because they probably know of resources too. Now, if you're working or you're able to work, look into jobs that come with housing included. Think cruise ships, resorts, national parks, or live-in caregiving jobs. Your Department of Workforce Services should be able to help you find those opportunities. This next one is a hard one, but it's personal to me. I've had to rent more expensive homes before because we needed something ADA accessible, and I've seen the impact that disability can have on your finances. I've personally seen what it takes to care for someone who is terminally ill. So if you are experiencing higher than normal housing costs because someone in your family has an extreme medical need, I recently learned the hard way that Medicaid can sometimes cover the costs of housing in a group home or even inpatient hospice facilities when it's medically necessary. I realize that this is not a great option. It's not ideal, and it's probably not what you want. But if a crisis hits, I wanted to make sure that you knew that that might be an option for you if you needed it. Now, again, we are seeing cuts to Medicaid, so I don't know how long that will last, but I wanted to mention it just in case. Now, on a happier note, please don't forget about hardship grants as well. Some disease-specific charities, like those for breast cancer, can often cover housing costs temporarily, sometimes for up to 6 months. These programs are super specific, just like the housing programs we talked about today, but in different ways. But they do exist and they do help, and we do have a list of them on our website at lowincomerelief.com. And while you're on our website, make sure to check out other ways to find money in unexpected places too, like unclaimed money databases, settlement funds, and even legit cashback sites like our sponsor, Free Cash. We have rounded up a ton of resources for you at the link that you see on screen. Remember, you deserve help. And even if the old systems are crumbling, the Low Income Relief team will continue to be here to help you find the resources that are still standing so that we can help you get what you need. So go check out our other videos for more ways to save money and get free stuff. I'll see you there.